Headquartered in Toronto, Pluribus Technologies, which trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol PLRB, is dedicated to acquiring and enhancing small B2B software companies. The company, which went public in 2021, showed tremendous growth in 2022. We sit down now with CEO Richard Adair to talk about the past, the present, and the future of Pluribus Technologies. Richard, good to see you again.
Good to see you, Richard. Thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
So good to have you back. For those who don't know, tell us what Pluribus Technologies is all about, Richard.
Well, we're about entrepreneurs partnering with entrepreneurs to grow great companies. We buy small, profitable B2B technology companies. We integrate them into larger companies, and then we develop growth plans with the management team to accelerate the growth versus what the individual little companies would do.
And 2022, we know it was a brutal year for capital markets. Was it just a storm you had to weather, or did it present any buying opportunities, Richard?
A combination of both. So obviously the investor sentiment wasn't great in the tech market. We have seen opportunities for acquisitions and continue to focus on that as part of our growth plan. I would say that there are entrepreneurs out there still looking to sell their businesses. It's just kind of a funny environment. The opportunity for us actually was to pause for about 6 months and focus on the businesses we have and create some really compelling growth strategies for those businesses. So it really gave us a chance to refocus. And one of our strengths is my management team and I, we can buy companies, we can run companies and grow them. This has given us a chance to do both, which has been really great as we move back into hopefully an environment where the acquisition market is a bit better.
Richard, what type of atmosphere for acquisitions are you seeing in the year that's to come?
Well, I think that's going to be somewhat dependent on the markets, but we are buying small, profitable private companies. So the supply of small companies where entrepreneurs need a liquidity event is still out there. I think it's more about, can you raise money in the markets to do acquisitions? And that comes back to the investor sentiment. But there's lots of companies out there that we want to partner with as entrepreneurs.
Richard, how has access to capital changed for you, if at all?
Well, we're still using the capital that we raised when we went public. So we're deploying that capital wisely in this environment and continue to look at some acquisitions. Really, I think we're going to have to judge where the markets are at for our next raise to do another batch of acquisitions. The market seems to be picking up a little bit, so we're hopeful later this year the environment changes. But as I said, right now, we execute with the capital we have, and then we focused on growing the businesses we bought last year, basically.
Your third quarter results, posted in November of last year, showed you're growing immensely, 139% revenue growth over the 9 months, in fact. Richard, what's driving that?
Two things. So we bought 4 companies last year. So by the time you get to Q3, you have the lion's share of the revenue associated with the 4 acquisitions we did. And then in parallel to that, we've had a year with some of our other businesses, particularly the e-learning vertical, and we're starting to see significant growth in those businesses as we've relooked their value prop, tweaked it, and taken them back to market. So a combination of organic and acquisition.
Can you talk about integration? How are things going in terms of absorbing all the acquisitions you've made?
It's a great question. So we usually take about 12 months, not only to integrate, but to really figure out what we have and where there are opportunities to grow revenue, go to different markets, things like that. I think we've done a good job on it. For example, in the Learning Network, we've combined 6 small companies into one bigger company that is a much stronger competitor in North America and eventually in the EMEA market. And I think the key to the integrations, people kind of misstep on them at times. It's not just about getting on one accounting system or platforms. It's about culturally getting everybody on the same page and rowing in the same direction. So we spend a lot of time on culture and trying to work with people to make sure they're in the right role going forward, because we put all these companies together. And that's really the key to success for us.
So, Richard, what can investors expect from Pluribus here in 2023? What's to look forward to here?
Well, we're really excited about our growth opportunities in e-learning, in ed tech, and in e-commerce. So I'd say that for the first time since the beginning of Pluribus, we've got very strong management teams in place. where we've pulled those together. Typically, when we buy companies, the owner, operator, founder leaves, and you're trying to get the business where it needs to be and put talent in to run it. So we got really strong management teams, really strong growth plans that we're investing in. So we see accelerated growth in the core business organically. And then, as I said, we'll be executing on our acquisition plan. And later in the year, with the markets picking back up, we would expect to look at next year and have a cadence similar to last year.
Lots on the go for Pluribus Technologies. Great to check in again with its CEO, Richard Adair. Check out the company PLRB on the Venture Exchange. Richard, good to talk again, my friend.
Thanks so much, Richard.